Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to speak at this forum and share my thoughts. So I was sitting at the backside, and ma'am just shared her last. I saw her last slide, and that had a quote from Professor Johan Galtung. So my presentation starts from his quote. So the idea of my presentation or my talk is technology and peace journalism, and I will specifically talking about social media in the context of data. But before that, I think when we are talking about peace journalism, I would like to talk about one of the most significant, I would say, peace initiative between two different conflicting communities armed with nuclear weapons, Pakistan and India. So it is not because I'm from the organization that was part of this initiative, but I think in the context of peace, when we talk about peace and when we talk about conflict, so I think this very initiative was really very important. So there was no end date to it, but it had to be suspended following the change in governments, first in India and then in Pakistan, I think. But there is no reason, specific reason for its ending. So I'll begin my presentation, technology and peace journalism, a data-driven approach. So my idea is to use data while we define or while we work on peace journalism and we discuss technology. So honestly, you don't need to be a data scientist to think this way or work on this. But I think you just need a data frame of mind. How you approach things, keeping data in your mind, that's the way you can explore much more. So I'll try to connect different dots and try to explain how social media and peace journalism are conflicting or can work together. So when we talk about peace, we can feel it, like we can feel happiness. This is a kind of sentiment. But if you want to weigh it or measure it, there is no absolute, I would say, numbers for this. But if you look at the cost of violence, so you can understand if violence can cost so much, how much is the value of peace? So how much peace journalism is important? So this is a report from from Institute of Economics and Peace, Sydney. This is the latest report, and as per this report, the global economic impact of violence was 16.5 trillion US dollars. And if we break down this number to the entire population of this country, so this becomes like each one of us losing $2,000 a year. So this is the cost we are paying for violence in the country, in the world. So this is not just limited to military expenditure. You can see this pie chart. They have break down the numbers where the money is going for violence-related initiative. So I was thinking when we are talking about peace journalism, why not to discuss the very latest incident of conflict or I would say violence that happened far away from our world, but in a way we are involved or we are connected with that conflict. But essentially there are three different countries. So I have tried to map these countries in a map that I have drawn on Canva. So you can see India, then you can see UAE, and then you can see United Kingdom. So I'm not a big fan of cricket, actually no fan of cricket at all. But please don't mind, like I know my friends who enjoy cricket very much, but for me, this story is very important. So actually what happened, you might have seen, I didn't. Pakistan and India match, the T20 match that held in Dubai, UAE. So India had a very close win over Pakistan that I know. So in reaction of that, like the following incident, the events that took afterwards, something bad happened, started happening in UK, in the city of Leicester. So you can see how much is the difference between these countries. There is air travel between UK and India is almost 7,000 kilometers. But one particular, I would say, event led to conflict between two opposite communities, Hindus and Muslim, in UK. So the scale of this conflict or violence, I would say, is large in a sense because 50 arrests was made. And I'm not talking about Pakistan, where arrests don't mean at all. We are talking about UK. And the government had to arrest 50 people. So what actually led to that incident? There is a very recent story by Reuters. The story is on October 4 this month. As per this story, BBC monitoring and another data-driven initiative, I think logically, they analyzed tweets about Leicester City, about cricket, and what they found out was that out of 200,000 tweets, 100,000 tweets were originated from India. So these tweets were instigating violence. These tweets were instigating hatred. So hate speech was being promoted. So this is, you can see how technology is, I would say, driving hate and violence. So I was going through the conference concept note, and I really liked this line or this sentence, surviving the social media onslaught. This is really very powerful attack by social media. There is no doubt about it. And this is not just because it is instant, it's worldwide or globally connected. It's because most of us are connected or involved one way or in another by using different social media platforms. So I think the following presentations in which I'll be sharing different numbers would further help to understand or explore this topic. So there is a website, Our World in Data, that is being run by an Oxford University researcher. So as per Our World in Data statistics or data, more than 2.3 billion people worldwide use social media. So this is huge number, keeping in view that almost over 7 billion population, 2.3 billion people are using social media, one or another. Like some may have used Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So it is like one person in every 3 person. Like in every 3 person, one person is using any form of social media. So I could not mention different sources for each, since these were from different, these numbers were from different sources. So, but these are really credible numbers that I looked for. So when we talk about Facebook, its global users, monthly or average user, active users are 3 billion worldwide. And when we talk about Pakistan, it's 50 million. So I think it's almost maybe 1/4 of the entire population, because we have a population of 220 million. So 50 million would make around 1/4 of the population. And similarly, Twitter had worldwide 400 million users, and in Pakistan there are 4 million users. Similarly, uh, WhatsApp, WhatsApp has 2 billion users worldwide, and in Pakistan, 40 million people use this WhatsApp. And the one important thing about these platforms or these technologies is that there is no language barrier, and there is no connection, I would say, with literacy. Like, if someone can't read or write, can't read a sentence, he had this opportunity to listen to someone's voice message in his or her own language. And similarly, they can be bombarded with the video messages. So when we talk about the market value of different social media platforms, so these are really amazing, I would say. So in the bottom, you can see New York Times, one of the leading media houses in the world, has market capitalization of merely 5 billion US dollars, merely when compared with Alphabet and Meta. Otherwise, 5 billion is a huge amount, and that too in dollars. But when we say Alphabet, so the parent company of Google and YouTube and different other social networking websites, Alphabet has this market cap of $1.2 trillion. Meta, which owns Facebook and WhatsApp, has 359 billion US dollars. And also keep in mind the number that I shared in my first or second slide, $16.5 billion, the cost of violence. Yes, please.
Sir, you talk about the use of social media that in the first slide that these people are using Twitter or Facebook. How can you just clear us that is it the correct number of people using social media accounts? Because we heard about the machine and the technology that itself they are like political parties are using these type of thing to promote their Twitter or something. So is there authentication of these data that these people the numbers
Yes,
are
yes,
correct?
of course. You can look around, you can see how much people in your circle, in your family, among your family members, your friends are using social media. It's not just about using it. These things are being thrown at you. You have no choice at all. So I don't think that there is, I would say, there might be slight difference between the numbers, but overall, this is the fact. These are the facts. These are bitter facts. I hope this answers your questions. So this is just try to present my quote saying technology, when we all are talking about technology, so technology is part of the problem, but in a way, this very technology is part of the solution. So we can promote peace, we can promote harmony with these very tools. But there is one very big problem. Most of these tools, or almost every tool, is powered by algorithms, is powered by data. specifically algorithms that play around these data sets. So algorithms have biases, and algorithms have their own, I would say, bias towards some particular subject or some particular matter. So this is not in our hands, like to directly get involved what is going on Facebook or Twitter. It's up to these companies. These very companies can do sentiment analysis. They can do text analysis in the matter of seconds, not in the matter of minutes or hours. They can do it in the matter of seconds. Like if we post something that immediately appears on the feeds of, let's say, Facebook or Twitter. So they have these algorithms that can detect hate speech and these kind of things. But unfortunately, I think these very companies are not investing much in curbing, I would say, these kind of emotions and these kind of things. And this is obvious because you have seen their market value, how much powerful these companies have become over the years. But there is possibility of extending all these things by carefully using these tools. So you might remember the January 2021 storming of the US Capitol. So this is on the right side, you can see a report from the Washington Post that got hold of the internal documents of the Facebook, according to which Facebook was in the position to control some of the events on the basis of data, on the basis of information they had in their system. But they did not act. They did not act timely, missed the warning signs. So this is a kind of evidence that I was talking about. They have algorithms, they have data, they can control the content if they want. It's up to them. So this very story explains this aspect of social media giants. And when we talk about disinformation or misinformation, so with this comes the role of fact-checking. So fact-checking is also, I would say, a part of technology now. But when we compare fact-checking with these disinformation, misinformation content, disinformation content promotion is super easy. It's easy task. Just few clicks, just few lines, and you are done. But if you have to do fact-checking, you have to do a lot of work. It's not an easy task. It's not an easy job. So in our society, unfortunately, social media has a history of mass mobilization, hate speech, radicalization, disinformation. And one immediate solution that our governments over the years had is blocking these websites. So every now and then when there is some big event going on, so you would hear these reports of blocking different social media platforms. And even internet, on different occasions, government has blocked the access to internet. But what I personally believe that what the government should do, we are, every one of us in this room, whoever is using social media, is a consumer, is a customer for these social media giants. So our governments, or in case of our government, can really pressurize these companies if they want to. I tried to search for different keywords, like if our government in the past had ever asked Facebook or Twitter to work on their algorithm or to work on biases in their data, but I could not find anything because they didn't take up at that level. What they usually do, they would just say remove that particular content or give us information about that particular person, or like this particular handle on social media, on Twitter or Facebook. So I could not find anything solid about our government approaching very seriously these companies, asking them to work on their algorithms. So peace journalism is in fact a kind of specialized field within journalism. And I would say, unfortunately, peace journalism is today versus mainstream media and social media. It's not just social media. We don't have time for peace journalism in mainstream media as well. So I think with this, my presentation ends, and I thank you very much. So if you have any question or comment, I think finished quite early.
Okay, so this was very interesting to listen to the concept of online journalism in terms of peace journalism, because we all are saying that the online journalism, and as we believe and as I see people are quoting it as it is a source of these days, because we don't have any proper execution and any proper check and balance policies for online journalism. So we see it as actually giving hype to the non-issues most of the times. So in terms of peace journalism, if we look at this, it's very interesting. I actually wanted to know the source, because I have this area of digital media as my research area. I'm really interested in knowing that what are the sources of from where you have quoted all these the stats, because maybe I could quote them again somewhere else
Yes,
where
yes,
I am also doing research on. So
yes. At the very, when I talk about our world in data, that is in fact a company. This is
so do they have their website
yes,
from where
yes.
we
They
can
have their website, and
re-access this data?
yes, you can access this data, and
And
they have different
this is very
reports.
recent.
Yes, this is the latest. Similarly, you can access.
Because I have seen interesting stats being quoted in your
Yes.
PowerPoint. So,
Similarly, you can look at these stats. This is from Institute of Economics and Peace. But this is a 104 pages report. So when you are doing some research, you have to go through these documents and to look for numbers that really matter to you. So it's up to you how do you dig into it. It's not like everything is on the web. So this is one of the problems when we talk about data journalism in Pakistan. Like we don't have access to data. These are most of the time data is locked in PDF files. So
no,
like in this
basic.
case,
Actually, you have written a data-driven approach, which was very interesting. So
yes,
I just wanted to know, for example, we all are doing research in various areas, and most of them are basically related to digital journalism. So all of us are probably looking for the facts and figures when we are supposed to code them somewhere in order to make a ground for our research.
yes, I can
So
understand.
can you please refer to a few sources which you generally use, and which you can quote as from where we can access our data in the times to come for our own researches? It will be very kind if you could.
Yes, and no problem at all. I can understand, but it all depends. Like, what kind of data are you looking at? Like, let's say I have been primarily covering education for last 17 years. When I look for data on education, so what I will do, I'll explore different government organizations, like what they are doing. I'll I look for like education statistics. There is government department that collects and publishes an annual report on stats in education in Pakistan. Then there are NGOs that are working in the field of education. So they have their yearly or monthly reports. That is another source.
Thank
So
you, sir.
then, yes, and then you have these international agencies, international non-profit organizations, UNESCO, UNICEF. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you very much for the informative session. Data is the new oil.
Of
So
course.
in this scenario, what would you suggest? How we can rely on the numbers we are collecting from the digital platforms? As they are selling data, advertisers have different motives. So in this domain, I am asking this, your take on this. Thank you very much, as you have a very vast experience on the data journalism. So in this case, kindly enlighten us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I got your question. So actually, you are very right that these companies are uh, actually business companies. They are doing business. So they have every kind of data. So the data that I collected from different sources, these are companies that work for, I would say, other multinational companies, and they have this, I would say, speciality of collecting these data and verifying, cross-verifying these data sets from different sources. So you are absolutely right. They might, I would say, can play with numbers, these very platforms. But again, if you see in this room, almost every one of us has a smartphone, or in one way or another, we are connected with this social media and all this technology.
Can I have a question, Khalid?
Yes, Shiraz.
Assalamu alaikum, kaise hain aap?
Well, first class.
Khalid, thank you so much. It was a very wonderful presentation. Of course, I do agree that how the data is actually driving the journalism over here. And you actually stamped it while launching one of the first ever platform on the data stories. I just have a suggestions, like for example, the RTI, as I guess Madhya Sahib was asking for this as well. So RTI is actually one of the major thing which is really helping us out for digging out the data, which the government
course.
most of the times are not willing. And whenever we tried, even while bribing the officers and the staffers and while utilizing some unfair means as well, but we are not able to access that data. But through RTI, like that is quite approachable for us. And in most of the cases, like 90% cases I witnessed, when the government department refused, the commissioner has actually granted and ordered them to access this data. Secondly, Punjab Assembly is one of the biggest sources as well, because most of the times, when before the RTI, when the members were actually asking a lot of questions, so the government was actually presenting the data over there and they were giving their answers, so that data was also accessible. Same goes with, like, I was into the crime beat for many years, so the police data really helping us out. But most of the time, for example, once I applied for the RTA request, that how many times the Osman Buzdar got tested of COVID during his CM-ship. Like, and the state away refused to give me the data, and the commissioner was not giving. They said, like, you are actually joking. But I guess that sometimes, like, this kind of things can bring some interesting stories for the viewers as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Shiraz. He has a very valid point about sunshine laws, or what we call here in Pakistan, right to information laws. So actually, I think almost an hour ago, I received a message from Punjab Information Commission about one of my complaints on against higher education department, because I had filed a complaint to the higher education department and sought data about, I think I can't keep it secret from you people. I asked the HED about the removal of teachers from service for prolonged absence. And it is from different years, like since 2010 to 2021. But even after 14 days, under the law, they are bound to provide this information to me within 14 days. But 14 days have passed and they didn't get back. So I approached the Information Commission, and now they have taken this up. So Shiraz is very right. We have these laws. There are difficulties, but absolutely you can try. And when we discuss journalism, it's not about researchers. Like, you have to get hold of the data that you are looking for, because you have to work on it. But in case of journalists, like, who have applied for some kind of RTI, seeking different data information, and they don't get it, they have a story too. So that they have been denied. So this is a story in itself. सो आई सेट, जो से उर्दू में कहते हैं दो धारी तलवार है ये, तो खबर आपको इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाए फिर भी खबर है, ना मिले फिर भी खबर है. लेकिन आपने ज़ाहिर है उसके लिए फोरम्स हैं, जो सिंध इंफॉर्मेशन कमीशन, सिंध गवर्नमेंट, बस ये अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, अनफॉर्चुनेटली नहीं, मुझे भी नहीं, मुझे एचईडी ने डेटा नहीं दिया. अब मैंने अप्रोच किया है पंजाब इंफॉर्मेशन कमीशन को, होपफुली मुझे मिल जाएगा वो, मुझे अक्सर ऐसे ही मिला है. लेकिन आप ठीक कह रही हैं, ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, बिल्कुल हैं. उसके लिए आप अल्टरनेट सोर्सेज तलाश करें. मैंने जिस तरह बताया कि आप लोकल इंटरनेशनल एनजीओज देख सकते हैं, आप जो प्रीवियस रिसर्च जो उस पर जो कोई मटेरियल है वो आप देख सकते हैं, ठीक है. तो रिपोर्ट्स हैं मुख्तलिफ, उसमें से आप चीज़ें देख सकते हैं. आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा इसको. ये क्या जी.
Sir, you talked about social media companies, and of course, you also talked about that most of the requests that our government send to them are related to content removal. So, even that is that data available for, say, journalists and for researchers to look at if we want to see that? Because I remember reading a report where they said that the previous government, PTI's government, sent the most content removal requests to Meta as compared to all previous governments combined, but we really didn't get to know exactly what kind of content removal requests they were. So somehow that I also feel that it's not just the government but the social media companies are also not very transparent in sharing the data. Yes. So what kind of challenges do you feel like journalists have to face when they have to do it, and as researchers when we have to get that kind of a data? So are there any platforms, maybe any non-profit organizations that can help us out, to get and to receive that kind of a data?
Yes, I think since most of these companies are based in the United States, so these Alphabet or Meta, these companies are based in US, and I think one way, or they have this FOI, Freedom of Information Law. So I think there is no bar on you while sitting in Pakistan to file a request there. So I think you can explore that as well. You can send them like FOI request on through email. So I think they can get back to you as well. So other than that, I think these companies are really hand in glove with those in Power BI, like, so they have this data, but they won't share with you. So this is where people like Edward Snowden come up. So they have to leak it. Otherwise, there is no way you can get hold of that data. Yes, of course.
Sir, there is a question right here, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I am a student in Formal Christian College, and as a student of mass communication and journalism, I would like to know that, like, I am following up the technology and world news related to war and peace. Here we are talking about peace journalism. Like, how as a journalist we are promoting peace in the whole world. Like, we can take as an example of Ukraine and Russia as an example, and हर किसी का अपना नैरेटिव है, चाहे वो वर्ल्ड न्यूज़ है, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान है, चाहे वो रशिया यूक्रेन खुद हैं. तो हम यहाँ पे पीस जर्नलिज्म की बात तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम पीस प्रमोट कैसे कर रहे हैं थ्रू आवर मीडिया, एंड हाउ आर वी डूइंग इट?
मैंने आपको बताया, दिस इज इन फैक्ट पीस जर्नलिज्म वर्सेस ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया एंड सोशल मीडिया. So you have to do it on your own. You can use these very tools. You can use these tools.
Like, I would like to know कि अब हम किसी यहाँ पे पाकिस्तानी बहुत से न्यूज़ एजेंसीज हैं, उनके लिए हम काम कर रहे हैं, उनका भी हर किसी का अपना एजेंडा है.
बिल्कुल ऐसी है.
मैंने अब आगे, like, when I would like to do job in any media industry, तो मैं अगर पीस प्रमोट करना चाहूँगा तो like मेरे लिए क्या ऐसे फुटस्टेप्स हों जो आपने फॉलो किए हैं और मैं वो फॉलो करके पीस प्रमोट कर सकूँ थ्रू माय वर्क, एंड स्पेशली लिविंग इन पाकिस्तान?
बिल्कुल, आप अपना पोर्टफोलियो इंडिविजुअल बना सकते हैं. देखें, यही जो डॉक्टर साहब ने, मैं नोट देख रहा था ना, उसमें یہی جو کانفرنس نوٹ تھا بڑا انٹرسٹنگ تھا کہ ہر ایک کے پاس پاور ہے, ہر ایک پبلشر ہے, ہر کو لکھ سکتا ہے. سو ڈونٹ نیڈ ٹو بی associated with certain or a particular media house. آپ اپنا پورٹ فولیو بنا سکتے ہیں, اپنا پورٹ فولیو ڈیولپ کر سکتے ہیں. اور جس طرح مطلب یہ بے شمار اس طرح کی آپ کو مثالیں مل جائیں گی کہ لوگ انڈیویجول کام کر رہے ہیں, وہ کسی ادارے کو پریزنٹ نہیں کر رہے, لیکن وہ ان کا کام مانا جاتا ہے. اس میں وہی بات ہے کہ وہ چیزیں جو اتھینٹک ہوں اور آپ کریڈیبل کام کر رہے ہوں. تو باقی یہی ٹولز ہیں, انہی کو آپ نے یوز کرنا ہے, انہی سے آپ نے آگے اپنا کام پروموٹ کرنا ہے, اپنا ویژن.
سر جسٹ لاسٹ ون ہے, تو سر جو کام کر رہے ہوتے ہیں, اب جو ہماری میڈیا انڈسٹری میں لوگ کام کر رہے ہیں اور جو پیس کے لیے بولتے بھی ہیں, تو پھر ان کے ساتھ کیا ہوتا ہے؟ لائک آئی ووڈنٹ نیم اینی ون, لیکن جو بھی لوگ ان ہمارے جو بیکورڈ ایریاز ہیں, بلوچستان سندھ والی سائڈ پہ جو آواز اٹھاتے ہیں, ان کو یا چپ کرا دیا جاتا ہے یا ان کو نوکری سے فارغ کر دیا جاتا ہے. تو پھر نوکری بھی آپ نے, سوری سر میں نے لاسٹ ایک کانفرنس اٹینڈ کی تھی, اس میں بلوچستان سے آئے ہوئے تھے, وہ آئی تھنک سو وہ بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں.
جی بہت شکریہ. جو بھی اسٹوڈنٹ ہے اس نے صحیح بات چھیڑی ہے. سوات میں اس طرح ہوا کہ پچھلے 3-4 ہفتوں سے جو ملیٹنسی ہے وہ بڑی عروج پہ ہے, لوگ بڑے خوف میں ہیں. اب جو اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں وہ بڑے ایکٹیو ہے, یونیورسٹی کے اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں, کالج کے اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں, یا سوشل میڈیا کے یوزرس ہیں, یا ایون جو سٹیزن جرنلزم کلیم کرتے ہیں, جو پیجز وغیرہ چلاتے ہیں, وہ بڑے ایکٹیو تھے. اب ان لوگوں کو پتا تھا کہ یہ لوگ کون لوگ ہیں, کیا کام کر رہے ہیں, ہر ایک بندے کو وہ سامنے لا رہے تھے. لیکن جب ساری چیزیں عروج پہ پہنچ گئی, لوگ اکٹھے ہو گئے, ان کی یونین بن گئی, ان کی بات آگے بڑھ گئی, تب کیا کیا ان لوگوں نے کہ ان لوگوں نے انٹرنیٹ ہی بند کر دیا. جب انٹرنیٹ بند ہو جائے تو پھر ہم اس ٹیکنالوجی کا پیس کے پروموشن کے لیے کیسے استعمال کریں گے, یہ تو بڑا مشکل ہو جائے گا. اب اگر یہ یا تو پیس کی بات کرتے ہیں یا ٹیکنالوجی کی بات کریں گے, ٹیکنالوجی کی بات کریں گے تو پھر وہ ڈپینڈنٹ ہے انہی لوگوں پہ جو امن کو لاتے بھی ہے اور امن کو خراب بھی کرتے ہیں. شکریہ.
بالکل ٹھیک ہے جی آپ نے. دوسرا میں آپ کو یہ جو ابھی آپ اسٹوڈنٹ بات کر رہے تھے, پوچھ رہے تھے کس طرح کریں گے, تو میں ویسے اپنی مثال دے رہا ہوں. ہم چونکہ میں نے بتایا میں ایجوکیشن کور کرتا ہوں, تو ہم تھوڑی سی کوشش کرتے ہیں. ابھی کل بھی پنجاب یونیورسٹی میں کلیش ہوا ہے اسٹوڈنٹس کا آپس میں, اسلامی جمیعت طلبہ کا اور دوسرے ایک اور پشتون. کوشش یہ کرتے ہیں کہ چلیں ان کے نام نہ آئیں, لیکن مسئلہ یہ کہ پھر وہ بات رہ جاتی ہے کہ آپ انفارمیشن پوری دے بھی نہیں رہے, آپ فیکٹس کو ہائڈ کر رہے ہیں. لیکن آپ نے دیکھنا ہوتا ہے کہ آپ کی کس طرح کی انفارمیشن جو ہے کسی سینٹیمنٹ کو, کسی پرٹیکولر اسکول آف تھاٹ کو ہرٹ کر سکتی ہے کہ نہیں کر سکتی. سو یہ آپ اپنے ڈیپینڈ کر رہا ہوتا ہے کہ آپ نے کس طرح چیزیں لے کے چلنی ہیں.
Khalid sir, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for coming over. I was just saying, since there were questions coming and going, like fact checking in itself is a way to promote peace because it allows you to give, like to sift through untrue information. So isn't it a way to promote peace? Like you can't just bring in peace by writing an article.
Of course.
But there are areas where peace is disturbed. Fake news does that, and deep fake right now is creating a lot of chaos. But I think one way of promoting peace is fact checking also, as you mentioned in your presentation also. So isn't it a good tool to?
Yes, I think Dr. Sahab, bilkul, this is like fact checking is actually what these social media tools or social media platforms are doing at the most. They are promoting this fake news or this misinformation, disinformation. So to counter this, one, I would say, tool that we have is fact checking. Ji, please.
Sir, peace journalism, when you hear the term, it is often affiliated with something freedom of speech, right? For example, I would relate it like this, that, if you have said to that student that, you can yourself become a peace journalist, you don't need any institution or any organization to back you up, right? But I would like to ask you that, for people who are, going against the wave or against the majority, what difficulties do you think they face? Because we have seen a lot of journalists in recent times in Pakistan who have raised voice for something positive, for something good, but then the backlash that they faced. So what do you have to say about it? If you become an independent journalist, like, hum log, because we have phones, we have internet, and we have our accounts, our blogs, our stuff, so we can ourselves become, that one drop of change. But how, because the society is very harsh at times, so
I
how
got
do you
you.
do? Yeah.
So independent doesn't mean that you are alone. You can develop a network of like-minded journalists, not just in Pakistan, but across the world. So again, these tools can help you to reach out to like-minded people sitting far away from your area, not just in Pakistan, but outside Pakistan. So it depends, like it's again, your use of these tools, how you can connect yourself with the rest of the world. So this is one way of addressing the issue that you have highlighted.
So, data journalism you're talking about, and all these tweets and these social media, other platforms, they are data themselves. People use these platforms according to their bias. I have a bias, and I will follow that tweet. I will forward that WhatsApp. And most of the time, states found that these things are going against the state narrative, and they can create a real time issue for the state in maintaining that peace, law and order. We have seen so much protest, and these protest times, these platforms become a source of information for those people who are protesting against the peace. So in some time you can see that, okay, that's good that you want to have freedom of expression, but what type of expression you people are using. So sometimes state need to come up with an intervention, same as some of my friends are talking about the journalists whose voice been silent. But everybody have some stance against them even. So where is the problem? All these data is sellable, and that why they are inviting those tweets that should be retweeted, because they are source of their business. Of course. So what I want to ask is that when we are saying that states are intervening interventions over the people, especially over here in Pakistan, and it is against the freedom of expression. State they must have some authority. I mean, you cannot let the people do what they want on these platforms. Don't you think, sir?
Yes, I think to an extent, that's what I tried to explain in one of my slides, that what our government do most of the times, it asks these social media platforms to provide the information about a particular person or particular organization, and they block these websites. This is the most easy way I think the government can do. That's what I was trying to say. The government should force these big companies to control their algorithms, to work on their technology that can be diverted towards peace. So this is actually what you said, and this is what actually.
Internet at the time of Tehreek-e-Labbaik protests, seriously, like you have to shut down when they are protesting, because you know that what kind of mess they are going to create while using the internet.
Yes,
and
they
technology.
have
So
done this in the past.
So
Yes.
that's my point over here.
Yes, they have done this. I think I'm trying to say, this is the easiest thing the government can do, to block the website. Instead of taking other measures, instead of trying to educate people, I don't know if the government has ever introduced any kind of this program about the safe and secure and purposeful use of these social media platforms. जी. No, I didn't get any financial award for my work, but I actually did a project by Internews Pakistan, and that was, I think, in 2018 or 19. It was 16,000 US dollars. ठीक है? So, for data stories. ठीक है जी? Okay, thank you very much जी. Thank you very much.